My name is Trisha, and in today's video I'm going to share with you a vegan version of the good old Goan pancake. I think it was last year that I shared with you a video on how I make my Alle Belle or Goan pancakes, and recently one of my lovely viewers texted me over on Instagram and asked me if I had a vegan version. Now, for some reason or the other, every year Pancake Tuesday just creeps up on me out of nowhere and I'm always caught unawares. This year was no different, so I was really grateful for this message, and today I'm going to be sharing the vegan recipe with you. So yes, this one's got no dairy, this one's got no eggs in it, it's eggless. And I'm going to show you a trick in case you don't have access to the good old Goa Jaggery. By the way, Jaggery, how do you say it? If you're like me and don't have access to the real thing, you'll still be able to enjoy a really tasty Goan pancake. Now, if you're new here and haven't done so already, please consider subscribing to my channel. And if you've already done that, thank you so much. I really appreciate every single one of you that has chosen to be here. So without any further delay, let's head on straight over to the recipe. So today's recipe is divided into two parts: the batter for the crepe or the pancake and the filling. We're going to start off by making the batter for our pancake. For this, I'm using 1 cup of all-purpose flour. I would recommend sifting the flour into the bowl. That helps prevent lumps in the final batter. To this, I'm going to add a couple of pinches of salt. You can add salt to taste. And 1 tablespoon of sugar. The sugar that I have is a super fine grain of sugar. Now, if your sugar tends to be a little more on the chunky side, I would recommend passing that through a spice grinder and making a powder out of it and adding it to the batter. It'll just dissolve in that batter a lot easier. Then simply whisk all of the ingredients just to make sure that they're well incorporated. And we're going to move on with our wet ingredients. I'm using just an organic soy milk here, and I'm starting off with about 1 cup of this soy milk. Pour the milk in gradually and gently whisk everything together. Keep in mind to not overwork this batter because that will develop gluten in it. You're just going to roughly mix it at this point. Now clearly I'm going to need a little more liquid than this, so I'm adding in another 1/4 of a cup, and I'm going to mix that in really well. The consistency you're looking for has to be thinner than that of an American pancake. Once you achieve that consistency, I would strongly recommend passing it through a sieve, like I'm doing here, just to catch any lumps that might have formed in the batter, and that ensures you get a nice, smooth batter. Now, I found that the consistency of the flour going through the sieve was a little thick, so I added a tiny splash more of that soy milk. You can move this back into a bowl and whisk that around. That would be more effective if you'd like, or you can just leave it as it is. In all, I used about, I'd say just under 1.5 cups of milk. But the quantity of milk that you'll need will differ from batch to batch of flour, so add your milk in gradually. And what you're left with is a beautiful lump-free batter. To make your crepes, heat a pan over medium heat and set aside a little oil in a bowl like this. You can also use melted butter if you'd like, and get yourself a silicone brush or any brush that is heat-proof. I'm using my cast iron skillet because for the life of me I can't find my crepe pan, and if you're using a cast iron skillet, make sure you're using a metal spatula. Now once the pan's nice and hot, I'm just going to smear some of that oil on the pan and pour out some of that batter onto the pan. Quickly swirl the pan around to spread the batter. Now you can see here that the batter is not as runny as I'd like it to be. It needs to spread a little quicker than this. Your first pancake or crepe is almost always a test batch, so going by what you see and experience, make adjustments as needed. Now when the pancake has cooked till it is almost dry on the top, it's not sticky at all like you can see here, we're going to flip it over. Before you flip it over, add a tiny touch of oil on the top and proceed to flip your crepe over. Now these pancakes, because they're so thin, they cook fairly quickly. It's completely up to you how brown or how dark you'd like your pancake to get. Then simply take it off the pan and continue with the rest of the pancakes. Remember to brush a tiny bit of oil on the pan before you add your next pancake. Let's have a look at it again. Now this is the batter with just a touch more milk added, and like you can see, it is spreading much easier than the first one. Swirl the pan around a little and leave it to cook till the top is no longer sticky. Remember to keep your heat at about a medium or a medium low so that the pancakes don't burn. Give the pancake a little brush of oil and you're ready to flip over. Cook till the other side has cooked through as well. Now my husband and I prefer a little more browning, like you can see here on our pancakes, compared to otherwise, but that bit is completely up to you. So when you're happy with the coloring on your pancake, take it off the pan and continue with the rest of your batter. Now my pancakes or crepes have cooked off. I've got them nicely stacked on a plate over here. Like you can see, they're soft, they're pliable, and I've let them cool down to room temperature. We're now going to move on to make our filling. For the filling, I'm using some freshly grated coconut. A quantity like this requires roughly about half a coconut grated. Now, since we don't have Goa Jaggery here in Sydney, here's the brand of jaggery that I'm using instead. Now, you simply add as much of that jaggery to sweeten your coconut to your liking. And just stirring that jaggery in really won't work here. You need to get in there and mash that jaggery into the coconut. If you're using Goa Jaggery, your filling is pretty much ready once the jaggery and the coconut have mixed well together. One optional add-in is a little bit of cardamom powder if you'd like. We personally never use any cardamom. We just use jaggery and coconut. And today as well, I'm simply going to leave it out. Now, if you don't have access to Goa Jaggery like me, you can still continue to use the mix just as is and it will still taste great. But I choose to add one more ingredient to make it taste that much closer to Goa Jaggery. I'm going to use some molasses. Now, I've seen a couple of different varieties. This is one I would not recommend at all. The flavor is too strong and it does not do anything good to that mix. What you're looking for is the Blue Label Australian molasses, and this hits that sweet spot when it comes to flavoring. I picked it up at my local Coles supermarket. No, this is not a sponsored video or post. This is simply where I buy this molasses. Add the molasses in very gradually to your mix and stir between additions. I would recommend starting off with about a good tablespoon of the molasses. Mix it in really well. Now with the spoon you can only get this far, so go in with your fingers and make sure that that's thoroughly mixed through. Once it's done, you'll end up with a filling that looks like this. Give it a taste and see if you need to add any more of the molasses. Now with the filling ready, we're ready to fill up our crepes or pancakes. Now again, here is one aspect that's completely up to you. You can decide which side of the crepe you'd like to have on the outside. I'll show you how they both turn out so that you can decide. Add a spoonful of that mix in the center of the pancake. Bring in both the sides that are closest to the filling, and then you're going to tuck over one of the other edges. Make sure that you're filling this a little tight and then simply roll it over and you're left with a beautiful filled crepe or a Goan pancake. Let's have a look at that once again. This time around, I'm going to put the spotted side on the outside just to give you an idea of what it looks like. In goes a spoonful of that filling. Tuck in the edges that are closest to the filling. Flip one of the sides over. Pull the pancake in towards you to give yourself a nice tight roll and simply continue rolling the pancake over. And here's what you end up with. Now you can decide which side you prefer to have on the outside of your pancake and simply in this fashion continue filling the rest of your crepes. Guys, that's what your beautiful batch of Goan pancakes, Alle Belle vegan crepes will look like. Whatever name you want to call it by, they're going to be absolutely delicious. Let's take a quick peek at what these pancakes look like on the inside. The filling is beautiful and juicy, and adding that molasses makes it taste so much like you've used Goa Jaggery. And guys, that was it. A vegan version of the beautiful Goan pancake. I hope you enjoyed today's recipe. If you did, don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Thank you so much for joining me today. I'll see you really soon with another delicious recipe. So till then, take care. Bye.